Hello, guys. Welcome. I thought I'd jump on and answer more of your questions. I'm going to start to make this more of a regular thing. But I get a lot of your questions and I want to answer them. So I was thinking about just starting with, because it's a new month, it's a new week, and that's all very exciting. So just because, and really you could do this anytime. But I do this a lot with my course students and my clients is this little activation meditation I'm going to go through. And it's so quick, but it really helps get your mind focused on what it needs to be or what you want it to be focused on and gets rid of a lot of the noise and other mental chatter that you don't want. And it's March 2nd, right? So we can do this, and I want you to tell me, and I want you to do it every day of the month and then tell me what happens at the end of the month. So what you're going to do is just get in any type of position that you're comfortable in. So either seated or lying down. It's preferable to close your eyes, but you don't have to. Like if you're on a walk, you can do this whenever. But I recommend doing it repeatedly. Definitely do this before bed. Definitely do this before bed because your brain is in a theta state before bed. And so your brain can absorb, it's more suggestible. So it could absorb the information and could get to the subconscious faster. And so if you're actively infiltrating your brain with things that you want in a theta state, those things will happen. So anyway, you're just going to get comfortable, do a body scan, just make sure everything's relaxed. All the muscles in your face are relaxed, all the way down, your body's relaxed, right? And all you need to do is breathe deeply. And I want you to focus on one thing that you want to create in your life. And it could be like, okay, I want this number in my bank account. I want this type of relationship. I want this thing to happen at work. I want to accomplish X, Y, and Z this week. And I want you to envision it, and I want you to envision it like it's happening, like you already have it. And I want you to feel all the things like as you're in this relaxed state, as you're breathing deeply, when you are asleep. And then also, we're going to do this when we're asleep. And then if, you're going to remember to also do this when you wake up because your brain is also in that theta state when you are waking up. So you're just going to breathe deeply and visualize that and just visualize it and all the good feelings like it's happening. That is literally how you rewire your brain and reprogram your nervous system to be in a state of peace, but also to have what you want. So I really want you to do those things. If you're just joining, I'm going to go through all of your guys' questions and everything that you have. Please let me know if you have any questions about mental health, relationships, getting what you want out of life. But I was saying to start with this, especially since it's a new month and a new week, you're going to breathe deeply, get your body in a relaxed state. Please do this before you go to bed. Please, please, please do this before you go to bed, literally every night. And as your body is in a relaxed state and you're breathing deeply, you're just going to visualize what it is that you want. As if you have it, breathing deeply, you can express gratitude. That's definitely going to help. Okay, so promise me you'll do that. And then let me know how it goes. I want to know all the updates. Give me what's going on. Let me know, okay? And so I'm here to answer your questions. I get questions in my DMs and my comments all the time, so I'm going to answer them right now. But if you have any additional questions, please feel free. Like, I love answering your questions. So the first one is, okay, about narcissists. I did a post about how narcissists and people with personality disorders, they can't handle intimacy. And it is very, very shocking because you get in this love bombing stage with them where you feel like this intense connection. They're telling you exactly what you want to hear. And they study you and they know, like, they get to learn like what you want, like what the gaps are and like your previous relationships, what you want and everything. They study all of that and you just feel very seen and heard. And then it's like, oh my God, we are just meant to be, blah, blah. And by the way, this can happen obviously in romantic relationships. It can happen in work relationships, in friendships, with business partners. It could happen in anything, but you just feel like, oh my God, we are meant to be. This is kismet, like all the things. And then as the cycle of abuse and that happens with borderline personality disorders, narcissists, sociopaths, is that then the devaluing starts. It's like, oh, why'd you say that? You didn't mean that. And then all of a sudden you go from serotonin, oxytocin to like this cortisol state, and it stings, it hurts. And so your nervous system is doing anything it can to get back to that serotonin, oxytocin state. So it's like, you didn't mean that. What happened? Like, why are you saying that? And it like you have like panic. And your nervous system does things that doesn't feel good. And so after this cycle continues enough, and then you might break up, something happens, or then you get in a big fight, all the stuff. And by the way, the person, the narcissist or the toxic person, other personality disorders, they thrive on that fighting stage where you're like, oh, like after they've devalued you enough where you're like fighting with them, because they thrive on not only chaos, which they're often proud of, thriving on chaos. It's nothing to be proud of, but they thrive on chaos and the conflict. They like there's a big comorbidity. Comorbidity means that like two things are happening at once. So if someone has a personality disorder and they're also literally addicted to drama, like, and I mean addicted to drama, like an alcoholic is addicted to alcohol. It's a real thing. So you think that you're just fighting for the relationship, or you're in your feelings and you're upset, right? But like they really want to they're like thriving off of your pain. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. And I'm always going to tell you the truth, that they're thriving off of your pain and this like emotional turmoil that's being created and all this drama. And I do spend a lot of time, like, helping my clients. Like, I'm like, hey, they're doing that thing again. They're doing that thing again. Don't get sucked in. They're doing that thing again, because it's so, if you get sucked in by one of these people, you're usually a kind, rational person that often has a big heart. So you're thinking in that range of emotion, and they are thinking in terms of scarcity and thriving off of your pain. So you have to remember, they're thinking from a different place, and they are feeding off of you being in pain. And that sounds so terrible, but like it's the truth. So I just want you to know that's what's going on. And then at the end of that cycle, you realize, and it takes a while, there's some grieving attached to the fact that the person that you fell in love with, the person that you were so drawn to, doesn't that was a fake person. They were putting on this thing to pull you in so they could get what they want, they could get their ego needs met, and it wasn't real, and that's painful, and that is something to grieve. And I think that is important to grieve, and there's no shame in it, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. It just happens. Okay. So that is what's going on. But no, that wasn't real intimacy, and that person that you met wasn't real. That was like a show that they were putting on to pull you in. I'm going to read some of the comments. Can you do me a favor? What is this favor you are speaking of? That depends. What it is. But let me know what you mean by, can I do you a favor? Antenna heard. Nonfiction. You're such a beautiful biatch. Thank you, biatch. We're all beautiful biatches. Thank you, Clarence. Saying hello. Upstate South Carolina. Nice. Hello from upstate South Carolina. Nice to hear from you, Clarence. And Joanna. Hi, Joanna. And again, like if you guys have any questions, anything mental health related, anything that you want to know more about, I specialize in relationships, helping people with personality disorders or difficult personalities, especially if you are someone dealing with those type of people. And my background is in obviously psychology. I have a master's degree in psychology, but I also specialize in neuroscience. So I help people rewire their brain and reprogram their nervous system to not attract the same dynamics, whether it's some type of addiction, some type of just like really bad pattern. Like, I don't want to be in this pattern anymore. Where am I, Clarence? I'm in California. So whatever it is, because that's the basis of like any type of mental health or coaching or anything, you're typically going to them because it's like, hey, I have this situation in my life that I want to change. And I'm obviously traditionally trained, but I don't believe that things need to take a long time, because I know that they don't need to take a long time. And you could easily reprogram your nervous system. And it's partially why I don't fully do traditional therapy, because traditional therapy, a lot of it is based on like billing for insurance. So they kind of like prolong the process. Nothing wrong with that. But I want you to get results fast, whether you're watching my videos or we're working together one on one, or you're taking my one of my courses. If you're in one of my courses, you still get like some one-on-one access to me. Not as much as like, being my individual client, but I still get to know you and I'm checking in on you. So, but whatever it is, I promise you, it does not need to take a long time. Even if you just like watch my YouTube videos, or my videos on wherever you're seeing me, but YouTube has the most. It's so important to know that you can change your life very quickly. And I know that the medical industry and social media and all these things that are, the food industry doesn't want you to know that, but I'm telling you, that is the truth. My psychiatrist and therapist is the Holy Bible. Nice. Um, so yeah, any questions that you have, and let me keep reading. I have a list of questions that people have asked me, so I'm gonna go over them. And so, oh yeah, so this other post I did about like narcissist and borderline people with personality disorders, like toxic people having double lives, and how it's so shocking. Yeah, that happens. And they do it to avoid intimacy. It goes along with the intimacy thing. It's kind of like they can't handle real intimacy. Yes, they love bombed you and made you feel like, oh my God, you're the blah, 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 but it's not real. And you could feel it in your gut too. Like a lot of times when I talk to my clients, and I've had this personal experience, I've walked the walk, I've done the healing, and I would not, and there's a lot of people and coaches like that do what I do that no judgment, but I've done the healing. I've walked the walk. So I'm here to tell you that I've been through all of these phases and they suck, but there's no judgment about them. And so yeah, what happens is it's like instead of in every real, true relationship where there's true intimacy and true love, there has to be a conflict phase. Even your relationship with yourself, you have conflicts with yourself. You're like, oh no, we need to level up. I'm not okay with and that is normal and that is good. And then when you create a safe space, what I call like the couple bubble, actually, I got that term from a book. I can't remember the book right now, but if I make this into a clip, I'll put the book on the site. It's a great book, but anyway, the author talks about having a couple bubble that is your safe bubble that no one else can enter. Okay, so you have the couple bubble, and if you really have that nice couple bubble, when there is a conflict that comes up, you can solve it in a safe way. You can solve it in a way where both people feel seen and heard. Yeah, it might be uncomfortable. It's a conflict. That's okay. You've created like enough safety and peace in the relationship for it to be talked through. And maybe it'll take a couple of, things like, it doesn't need to, like things aren't always solved immediately. And sometimes things need to be worked through, relationships are mirrors. So they show us where we need to like heal, where we still have wounding. So not that it's going to always be solved right away, but that couple bubble, that safe space that's created allows for the conflict resolution to happen. Let's see. Am I married? No, I'm not married. Tanvir, good morning. Yes, good morning to you. I'm in California, so it is 8:44 for me right now. But good morning to you, Tanvir. Hey, I want to ask you a question, but have to go out for a bit. How long will you be streaming for? I don't know how long I'll be streaming for. I don't know. I just kind of go with the flow. I answer the questions that I have, and then if you guys have more questions, you could leave the question and then I could answer it. I always like as soon as the live stream is done, it's posted. I don't edit it. I don't do anything. It's posted for you guys. So it's there. If you want to like leave the question, but let me know, David. Let me know what's up. 11:44 here in upstate South Carolina. Nice. We're having our red full moon tonight. Isn't that exciting? Let me answer. Let me see. Oh yeah, and the other thing is like going on the same tangent with like the fact that narcissists, borderlines, people with personality disorders can't experience real intimacy. You are supplied to them. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's also the truth. And it's just like you are there for their ego needs, their drama needs, their whatever. I mean, sometimes it's like a lot of them are freeloaders and they're just like, hey, can I, crash with you? Or just it's different things that where you're going to end up feeling used and taken for granted and like very confused. But if you can see it early, and I've never had a student in my course or a client say that like, yeah, I saw the signs early, but I wanted to ignore it because the love bombing felt so good. So if you can, walk it back when you see one of these people coming on the horizon again and be like, oh, that's that pattern again. And then just recognize it for what it is and be like, you know what? I'm going to back off of this. And literally the post I just did was about this, about like when you level up and when you heal and reach different higher levels of consciousness, which and what I mean by that is like your baseline state is more peace. You have love flowing through you more than anxiety or depression or other things. When you start to feel more of that than other kind of lower, and no shame if you do, but like I'm just saying, like as we, all of my videos are to get you to this higher level of consciousness where you're operating, you're just in this flow state, you're so creative, you're accomplishing, like anything you manifest is just happening. That's where I want you to go. And a lot of my stuff is about recovering from narcissistic abuse because that can really like jettison you, like propel you to a new place. It's not to just like focus on the narcissist, but so yeah, like the last post I did was about this level where you just feel so unbothered. Things that used to bother you, they just don't anymore. And I promise you, if you keep on your path, that is coming to you. But when you start to enter that phase, all of a sudden, these people, these narcissists, these like the old patterns that you used to have show right back up. Show right back up. Show right back up. And you're like, I just thought I did all the work to get rid of these people. Like, why are they showing up again? That's not bad. That is actually a good sign, okay? That means like you're having an opportunity to refine your new identity. So you have done your healing and you're like, I'm not putting up with this. I am done with this. So that same old pattern, whatever it is, the old toxic person, whatever comes back into your life. And how do you react? That's the win. So that old pattern, you're handling it completely differently. That is the beauty. And that is the refinement, like as I referred to it in that last video. It's like the refinement. It's like you get an opportunity, the universe or God, whatever you call it, is giving you an opportunity to say, no, I mean what I meant. I don't tolerate that anymore. These are my new standards. So it's not a bad thing if you have healed from something, you're healing from something, and that same pattern shows up. It is how you react to it. And I want you to be so proud of yourself for reacting to it differently. And you will literally get to a point where you are what I call the unbothered level. You're just so unbothered. Your nervous system is so regulated. You feel so freaking good. So yeah. Okay, let me read some more of the comments. Yes, I mean, the full moon is gonna be at 3:33 in the morning for me in California, so I don't know, maybe I'll wake back up. I teach teachers how to handle unruly students. Good, I love that. I love that. I have a lot of videos on that. Comment to make you angry. I comment. That's an interesting name, but I love that you teach people how to handle unruly students. That's kind of what I do with adults. I mean, help people with personality disorders, like how to handle them. So feel free to watch my other videos. They'll definitely help your people too. David runs, my girlfriend of 3 years, 43 female, broke up with me, and I'm a 31-year-old male last July, just before my birthday. Oh gosh, I know where you're going with this. We still hang out, and I have lend her my car most days so she can get to work. She mostly calls me when she needs something from me. I don't know what to do. David, okay, first of all, my heart goes out to you. Okay, so with when I'm talking about personality disorders, I just call it like toxic. I just say toxic just to just whatever. But this is a classic thing that they do is they break up with you before your birthday. Your birthday is supposed to be about you and making you feel special. So they slice that off. They like cap you at the knees by breaking up with you. That's a very deep form of devaluation, or any holiday that means something to you. So if you like Christmas or Easter, whatever it is, they will do that. So I'm very sorry that happened to you, but that is what happened. So David, she was really trying to, and it's a power and control thing. It's a way to manipulate you. And it's also a way to like, because a lot of people have anticipation, like, oh, it's my birthday. They're going to be nice. They're going to do something nice for me because and it's like, nope. And so the nervous system, a lot of times, will consciously or unconsciously be like, wait, wait. And then so now you're in a chasing energy, which they want, because then they have the power and control, and it's a form of manipulation. So I'm really sorry that happened, but I do want to like clarify and like let you know that that is what's going on. It's a very toxic and abusive form of manipulation and control, David. Um, and I don't want you to tolerate that. Like you should, every one of you that's listening or watching this later, you deserve to feel safe in your work, your relationships, your relationship with yourself. Because some of you guys, you have a toxic relationship with yourself. Your inner critic is bullying the shit out of you, and I don't like it. I'm not putting up with that. You tell that inner critic to fuck the fuck off. Well, first you have to understand that it's not you, it's the inner critic. Okay. But like, you deserve to be safe and at peace and be loved. And any person that gets to have your energy. Okay. And so, and this isn't that. And then, the rest of your thing is this like it's like you're being used. And I hope that, I can just, sometimes we just need to hear it out loud from someone else. Like, look, I'm being used. Like how you're saying in the comments, David, like she breaks up with you before your birthday. And then she wants to hang out, like what, to her convenience, and then like lends you her car. Like, so it doesn't sound like there's a lot of reciprocity in this relationship. And it sounds like you're being taken advantage of in not a good way. And I do think, and I'm more traditional. I think like the masculine energy. I don't care if you're gay, straight, whatever. Like the masculine energy in a relationship provides and protects and wants to be useful and wants to, but not get um, manipulated and abused. We're not about abuse up in here, and it does sound like that. So, from the little that you've told me, David, this does not sound good. And the fact that you ended it with "I don't know what to do" makes me like, obviously it doesn't sound like a very healthy dynamic to be in. So, when and like men, testosterone is a very decisive energy. So like, you said you were like a 31-year-old male. So like testosterone makes you know things, and it helps you come to decisions quickly. And if you're like, I don't know what to do, what I'm hearing is, I know this situation isn't good for me and I don't know how to get out of it. Maybe because you've been guilted and shamed, and like there's a lot of chaos around. If someone's breaking up with you on your birthday, like you said she was, then that means that she's probably using a lot of guilt and shame tactics and making you feel bad to pull you back in. And it's hard and it's confusing. And I want to validate that, when you're in these type of dynamics, they are very difficult and confusing. But um, what I tell people in situations like this is like, I want you to get really honest with yourself. And I want you to write down, if you had your ideal relationship, what would it look like? Like, how would you feel? You'd probably feel at peace and you'd probably feel loved consistently. You guys deserve consistent peace and love in your relationships with other people and with yourself. Okay. And so what else would it look like? Talk about it. Like, what would the sex look like? What would your weekends look like? Talk about all of it and write it down. And I want you to look at the list, and then I have my clients do this, and then you turn it into the first person. Like, I have this person in my life and we do this. And then our relationship looks like this. Our communication looks like this. It's really safe. I can speak my mind and not feel like someone's going to abandon me. Okay? So I want you to focus on those things, David. Um, have you heard name it or tame it? No, I haven't. What's name it or tame it? Um, hello, Amal. Um, I choose. Okay, so you do private consultations for companies. Nice. You're funny, cap off at the knees. Yeah. Thank you. I'm just trying to make it vivid. I mean, I get it. I've been there. The four quickest ways to blind anyone are with, yeah. Um, hola Juan. Um, she's still struggling with money. Okay, I'm back to David. She's still struggling with money. She has lost a lot of money to gambling. Okay, again, so a lot of people with personality disorders, there's a comorbidity, meaning two things are happening at once with like addiction. So most people, like most borderlines, narcissists, they have an addiction. And yes, gambling is such a frequent one because people with personality disorders, they feel like everyone owes them something and they're greedy, and there's something about gambling that pulls that in, or it feeds that addiction. It feeds that, like, I want more and more and more and more and more. And then they'll steal from people. I've had so many clients that have had partners with gambling addictions. I mean, you're not calling it a gambling addiction, David, but I can sense that's what's going on. Okay, has lost a lot of money to gambling and now has low income. She has two kids from the past, she has two kids from a past relationship who I care about and don't want to let them down. Okay, I hate to say this, and I've seen this so much, and it's just a tactic. I mean, I gotta tell you the truth though. So a lot of, and it sounds like David, like you're a really caring, kind man. And a lot of women that are, have personality disorders or are toxic like this, they'll use their kids. And again, their kids are supply. They don't, if you cared about your children, you wouldn't be in these chaotic relationships, addicted to gambling or whatever else you're addicted to. But she's literally using her kids as supply to make you feel bad, and because you have a heart and you're probably a kind person, you actually care about the children more than she does. Okay, I don't know the situation, but I bet you she does, because I've seen this dynamic. So it is so textbook. And I know that's shocking because it's like when you're in your experience, it feels so like unique and like, oh my God, and you feel so alone and confused. And that's part of it, David. But I'm telling you, um, like, enabling her behavior is not helping the children, and you can't completely drain your life, your life force, your energy, your finances, and everything for someone that obviously doesn't sound like she cares about you, otherwise she wouldn't be behaving this way, and is again just using you as supply for money and a car and all these things. It doesn't sound like a good dynamic at all, David. So I know it's hard to like be like, oh my God, I care about these kids, but the kids will be okay. The kids will, I'm sure they have other family, or and I actually don't know the situation, but it is difficult, right? Like to walk away when kids are involved. That's why these types use the kids. It's kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to offload my responsibilities onto you and use you in that way. And then, um, but still like use and abuse you because I actually don't give a fuck about you. Um, and that's, very straightforward, but like I have to say that. So I know that you care about your kids, like the kids. It sounds like you have a big heart, but I would focus on getting in a very safe and stable relationship where you maybe could have your own children with someone that provides a lot of safety for you and isn't just using you for money and a cart to like literally enable her gambling addiction. It sounds like maybe the only love that she has is gambling and whatever else she's addicted to, but it's definitely not you and maybe not even her kids. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry to hear that. And because I've seen it a lot and I've seen how the children have suffered. I mean, to the point where the kids aren't even sometimes getting their needs met. But I don't want you in that dynamic, David. I'm really sorry. Um, Please feel free to follow up with me here or you can DM me, but it sounds like a dynamic that is not healthy or serving you. And I know that you know that too because I don't think you'd be writing me if you did. So thank you, Clarence. People assume their name, not the way around. Persons in the title. There was a girl who told me she was Catholic looking for romance and her kids were Sicilian. I downloaded Duolingo, learned Italian in a couple weeks, befriended an Italian and introduced them. Okay. Um, but yeah, so it's just really easy to get sucked into these dynamics where you feel sorry for someone. And I mean, that's even still now, like I have a lot of experience and I've done all my I'm only here because yes, I've talked about this in a video. I have a master's degree in psychology. I graduated at the top of my class. I have all types of fucking awards. That doesn't mean shit in terms of like the healing happens on an energetic and even spiritual level. Yeah, and yes, I do have I think compared to the most coaches and therapists, I am more educated, but like in terms of really healing and helping other people heal, you have to do things on an energetic level where your nervous system is like regulated and you're rewired in a different, like you're literally creating new neural pathways. And I did not teach this. I did not create my course. I did not launch my course until all of that was really in place for me, till I really knew, and I felt like I could help people. I didn't feel like I could do, even though like I had my private practice and it was running and I still was clearing out a lot of these chaotic relationships and still helping people. I didn't feel like I could launch my course until that was really and that included like, going non-contact with family members. And that's just my journey though. But yeah, but with David, like we were talking about with David, it does sound like that's something you need to disconnect from. But David, I want you to, this is the other thing I wanted to say. I want you to disconnect from it when you're ready. Like it's a process, but I want you to do the healing around it. So you don't attract that dynamic again, because you sound like someone with a big heart that can give the right like a good amount of like love to the right person, but you have to be able to receive it. A lot of people, when we attract toxic relationships, it's because we have a receiving problem. Yeah, I said it. It is true. And when I first learned that, I'm like, no, I don't have a receiving problem. I want all these things. I want the love. Da, da, da. You have a receiving problem. If you are attracting a narcissist, even if it's like, oh my God, this is the first time I've attracted a narcissist, or a borderline or personality, any type of like whatever, you have an opportunity for growth. You have an opportunity for growth around receiving. And I know that because you would not have attracted this dynamic if you didn't. So no shame in it, no shame in it. But you have an opportunity to really just and what I mean by receiving is like understanding and having a core belief that you get to receive love without being performative. You don't have to give 100 times more to get a little bit of like I'm gonna like get like I'm gonna do all this to get a little bit of breadcrumbs. And you know what? That little bread, I'm gonna make a feast out of those breadcrumbs. Like, oh, thank you for these breadcrumbs. No, no, that is not the vibe. And you have it somewhere in your consciousness or subconscious mind that you have to overperform or you have to do all these things and you rationalize it away with like, oh, it's not okay to, I can't tell you how many clients I'm like, hey, why are you doing that? Oh, no, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Oh, yeah, I know. Do you know how many times I've been like, yeah, don't yeah me, Missy or sir, do not yeah me. Like, oh, because it's like you're so used to rationalizing it in your brain. That's not a big deal. And it's like, oh, that's just how they are. No. And in fact, that's one of the things that narcissist and borderline or whatever, like people with toxic, they say that. That's just how I am. And you're supposed to accept that? Okay, you accept my bad behavior because that's just how I am. No, you deserve better than that. You deserve equal treatment. You deserve the same amount of safety and love that you provide other people. Okay, and support that you provide other people. This is a reciprocity, right? Like a figure eight. Like you deserve that too. So if you are attracting these relationships, I really want you to look at and just start with the acceptance. Just believe me. Just believe me on this one. Just the acceptance that you have an opportunity for growth around the ability to receive more love, receive more prosperity, receive all of the things that feel good and that help you thrive. Okay? Let me look at the comments again. Let's see. Family. Her dad was quite falling in love wasn't the plan. Um, was she the best? An old timer told me to look in the mirror and ask myself if I wasn't someone I'd want my daughters to date. That's when I realized things. Yeah, I mean, that is that is a good yeah. I subscribed you actually. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, I mean, but here's what I like about what you said. Like, I looked in the mirror, like, that's when I realized things. It's like self-awareness is the biggest thing, because none of we don't all have moments that we're proud of. We all have opportunities for growth. You know, it's especially, sometimes we're in crisis. Sometimes we have, like, blind spots that we really don't wanna look at. It's what Jung here's see my finger? That's, like, one of my favorite, like, you get that reader, but because it's a good synopsis of all his stuff. But anyway, um, okay, Tom Kinks, if you need advice, let me know what's going on. But and I'll finish up this thought. Like, it is about like, and he, Jung right here calls it your shadow, and being okay with the fact that it's scary to look at your shadow because your shadow sometimes it's aspects of yourself that you freaking hate, that you get triggered in other people, that you're like, oh, I don't want to look at myself in the mirror and see that. So I love that you wrote that. It's like, yeah, we all have to look in the mirror and see things about ourselves aren't that we would like to upgrade. We don't even have to judge it like it's bad because nothing's really bad or good. It's just like, is this preferential? Okay, no, I want this. I want this to look more like this. I want to live in more of a state of peace or love, whatever it is. Like, there's no need to, if your inner critic takes over and it's like, God damn, why are you doing this? Why aren't you here? Like, that's just keep you in the same place or lower. So you could be like, okay, well, that gets to be better. You could look at, I don't know, if it's your weight, okay, that gets to be better. If it's a number in the bank account, that gets to be better. If it's your relationships, I'm just expanding my capacity for more love. I'm expanding my capacity for more financial prosperity. I'm expanding my capacity for more peace by not giving energy to chaos or drama. That's all it is. That's all it is. We're just trying to upgrade and be better. That's it. So today I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that. Did you know it was going on, or is it early stages? And how can I help you? There are a lot of things like, you know, and again, this isn't medical advice. I just want to be okay. Have I had clients that have completely reversed some neurological things with the keto and carnivore diet? Yes, I have. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Um, I'm trying to figure out how to move forward. Well, first of all, okay, so on the practical level, like I just said, I am not a medical doctor. And so I don't want to get in trouble for anything like saying that. But Have I had clients with neurological, like Bell's palsy and different things, reverse certain a lot of symptoms, epilepsy, with the keto and carnivore diet? Yes, I have. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But also paired with, I don't know if you know, like, Joe Dispenza's work or anybody in that lineage, but he talks a lot about the power of the mind to reverse any type of illness, people walking again, things like that. So I come from the school of thought, like, your mind controls everything. Again, your brain, it's in this like little helmet called our skull, but your brain does not hit here. You have a brain stem. So your brain goes all the way down throughout your spine and throughout your body. So sometimes and there's a whole thing that's called somatic psychology, that is the basis of it is that, like, every disease, even injury that we have, is based on some undealt with psychological trauma. So if your brain is here and then the rest of your brain goes throughout your brainstem, your brain can only hold so much. So if you have suppressed trauma, like, it can be stored in different parts of your body and nervous system. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. So, but if you get news about a physical diagnosis that's unfavorable, that you don't want, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by saying, hey, if my mind is this powerful and my mind controls more than I think and more than the medical industry definitely doesn't want me to know, if my mind is that powerful, what if I use my mind to enhance my health? I have to be so careful what I say on these things, because I mean, I've noticed that, like, my views on certain thing on the YouTube shorts that I have has gone down, and I think it's because I talk about, like, the power of the mind, and the medical industry doesn't want you to know about that, but I'm going to always tell you the truth, okay? And people have reversed a lot of things with the power of their mind. In fact, there's a book that this guy, that I think he was a doctor, I can't remember, but anyway, he got diagnosed with this terminal illness, and it was like, oh, you have X amount, like, whatever to live. And he was like, okay, fine, fuck it. I'm going to spend my time laughing. I'm just going to, like, let it go. I'm going to let everything go. And I'm going to just devote myself to things that bring me joy and laughter. And then when he did that, the diagnosis was reversed. It went away. Okay. Like, so that's all I'm saying. Like, if you get yourself in a high vibrational state, then maybe things can be reversed. Also, Neville Goddard talks about this in a lot of, like, just like things miraculously being reversed because your mind is that powerful. And I'm so glad, because sometimes I feel like it would sound crazy, like, but a lot of it's starting to come out. Like, when the Rockefellers took over our health system, it was to make us sicker, because then they had the pharmaceutical industry, and it's like, okay, if you're sicker, then you're gonna need all these meds. So, and a lot of that is finally being exposed, and then, Tom, you could do other things, like get copper glasses for things, change your sheets to linen, like, move to a keto or carnivore diet, which is delicious, by the way. You can still have a little bit of, if you have potatoes, just lather them in butter and stuff. But, like, there are so many things that, like, especially with the neurological things, it's like the myelination, which is like how to, nerve endings and are basically, like, it looks like saran wrap. It's called myelination, are put together. And sometimes they get, like, myelination comes off because of high stress, or just like a shitty diet, or too much sugar in the diet, or whatever. It can be reversed so quickly. And I know the medical industry doesn't want you to know that. Hope you don't cancel me, but I'm talking to YouTube right now, but, like, it's just, but I also have to tell the truth, because it's the truth. And I mean, I just feel so happy that we're living in an age where you could at least, like, look at ChatGPT. There's certain things you could look at to be like, hey, it's there. It's the actual truth. So you are so welcome, Tom. How do I talk to you? How do I know this? Well, I have a master's degree in psychology, and I feel like I've always known it's my life's work to help people. A little bit more about my background is that, like, I specialize in personality disorders and everything just because I grew up in a lot of trauma. I came from a lot of trauma, and I've done a lot of powerful work to get over that. And yes, I have a master's degree in psychology, but just like I said, knowing the actual like logic behind it isn't going to get you far. It's like knowing and having self-awareness is the first step. It's like, okay, I need to fix this. But like if you were just like book smart and you just like knew like, oh yes, like yes, this is what happens, but that's not going to get you anywhere. That's the first step. But like having a spiritual like awakening and reprogramming your nervous system and rewiring your brain is really going to get you where you need to be. And also a big part of what I want for you guys is to not repeat those patterns. I want you to like break free because those patterns can be so imprisoning. It's like, oh my God, is this going to be this way forever? Am I going to be like in a nursing home still like work? No, you're not. No, I promise you, it might feel like that. Like, no, no. And very soon you're going to look back on this and be like, oh, I remember when I was in that chaotic relationship. And I encourage people, like, as an exercise, to say that, like, you envision, like the exercise that we began this live stream with, you envision what you relax all the muscles in your body and you envision what you want. And then you could say, because your inner critic will be like, yeah, that's not true. And you'd be like, oh, I remember when I was in that chaotic relationship. I remember when my health was like that. And now I'm so healthy. And now I'm in this great relationship. And now I'm a multimillionaire, whatever it is. So identify that way. Oh, now I'm this way. It's such a relief. So glad it's in the past. Whatever it is that you don't want anymore. So glad. Just pretend, just brainwash yourself, because you brainwash yourself to believe a lot of stuff about you that's not true. So now you can brainwash yourself to be like, I have radiant health. I'm in an amazing relationship. I'm a multimillionaire, whatever it is. Okay, I gotta take her the car so she can drive to work in the morning. David, I know this. I know. I've helped so many clients. You don't have to do anything. Especially if someone's breaking up with you all the time and only wants to talk to you to use your car, breaking up with you on your birthday. No, Uber exists. If you weren't there, she'd probably be using someone else, but she would find a way. So you actually don't have to drive her to work. You don't have to give her your car. You do not have to do any of that stuff. Just have to be really honest with you. You don't. But thank you for reading the comments and advice. I appreciate you too. Like, but I want you to know you don't have to enable her in any way. You don't even have to talk to her. You don't have to be in this relationship anymore because it sounds pretty abusive. Just so you know, you don't have to do any of that, David. Hi, Lauren. Thank you for everything you do. I had my career, reputation, friendship destroyed by a cluster B. I have been hyper-focused and applied metaphysics, but what are the daily musts? Okay. So I'm going to dissect this because, you know, if you've had if they did the smear campaign and everything, sometimes that's just a clearing, because I feel like people um, that really know who you are, like, your friendships can't be destroyed, your real reputation, everything can't be destroyed. Like, maybe temporarily, like, things are a little bit chaotic, but know that, like, if your heart is in the right place, that nothing can destroy you. Okay, so you can just, and if you apply quantum physics, then you can just say, like, okay, the energy of love, whether you call it God, universe, whatever you call it, is on my side. I am choosing to be aligned with this higher dimension, this higher energy of love and peace. Start there, especially if you're in tune with metaphysics or quantum physics. And so that's what I would put under the must, is that you need to be aligned. I just did another video. I think it was Sunday, it was yesterday, about you can get anywhere in your life if you have God, source, universe, whatever, at the center of your life. Again, Carl Jung, put that book right there. The most famous psychologist would talk about this. People would come to him with every single problem. The guy that invented AA literally went to him and he's like, how do I help these people? Because in the 1930s or whenever 20s, whenever it was, they just put alcoholics in insane asylums. They didn't know what to do. And the insane asylums didn't work. And he was like, what do I do, Carl Jung, Dr. Carl Jung? And he was just like, all healing happens at a God consciousness spiritual level. And anything you want to receive, what we call manifesting sometimes, happens at a God conscious. You can't fight, you can't, there's something practical about it. So you have to do things from a God consciousness level. So quantum physics, whatever you want to call it, if you're more scientific, but it's all the same thing. So you have to get in the energy of like, I am going to only be available for my nervous system and my state of mind to be in a state of love and peace. I'm going to operate from that. I recommend starting at peace, because sometimes we have, like, especially if you're getting out of a toxic relationship, our ideas of love are fucked up. Okay. So, but you know what peace is. You know that it feels nice and serene and tranquil. Okay. So operating from a state of peace and deciding that every day I'm going to do that. And the other things, if you watch this on, as soon as I end this live, it'll be available. And I started the live with doing this exercise of when you go to bed and when you wake up. But because your brain is in a theta state when you go to bed and when you wake up, of like just being so grateful, whatever it is you want, I want you to be grateful for it like you already have it. And I want you to purposely like relax every muscle in your body, making sure your jaw and here, all in your neck and shoulders, because that's where we hold a lot of tension, and your hands and feet, and then everywhere, but especially those areas, because we tend to hold tension most in those areas. So I want you to relax, and I want you to be like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. And again, making your a new identity with, like, so for instance, Mike, with this, oh my God, that situation, I'm so glad it's in the past. And you can also take it a step further and say, like, you know what, that never happened. Like in quantum physics, this is like a Neville Goddard technique. He calls it revision. And you could just say, yeah, that never happened. I've always had healthy relationships where people are supportive and love me and da-da. That's kind of next level, but it works. It works and it's weird. That's all I'm going to say about it, because it's like that your reality is whatever you want. This is your video game, babe. So you could literally make whatever you want. But I would start with the fact that, oh, yeah, I'm glad that's over. I'm glad I'm in this new phase of life that is so prosperous, and it's just full of so much love and so much peace and so much joy. And my life is so full and so amazing. Gosh, I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful. I continue to evolve, and my spirit and my soul continues to evolve, and my capacity to experience real love continues to evolve, because that's all real healing or evolution is your ability to expand your ability to experience love and peace. So how does that sound, Mike? How does that sound in terms of a place to start? I will watch the live stream later. Awesome. I just had blind spots to such trash villainy. We all have blind spots. It's okay. Don't judge yourself. Like, you'll get to a point where you could thank yourself, you could thank the universe, God, whatever you call it, for the opportunity to heal in this way. I'm gonna have a drink of water, sorry. So yeah, I know. So I just, don't be hard on yourself for that. Don't allow your inner critic to come in and judge yourself for that. If you could think from a place of like, you know what, I'm glad I got this opportunity to learn, so I never experience that again. And I really do feel like all toxic people are teaching you that you have some opportunity for growth around your ability to receive more love, to receive more peace. And it also showing, if you've attracted a toxic person in your life, it's because somewhere you feel like you have some type of unworthiness, or you have to do way too much to get like what you want, So if you're attracting some type of thing that's like causing you, like, somewhere in your mind, and it could be from childhood, I don't know what it's from, but you feel subconsciously, unconsciously, that you have to suffer to get a little bit of love. And let me tell you, suffering is not necessary. It's not real. True love is not transactional. So you don't have to suffer. You don't have to do any of those things to experience real love. Let that sink in. Let me say it again. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to be in pain to experience love. And like, I've seen like quotes and like tattooed, love is pain. No. Is intimacy uncomfortable? Sometimes, yeah, fuck yeah, it helps you grow. It helps you expand into the best version of yourself. And that's why you need to experience intimacy with someone who can actually provide a safe container for that real couple bubble. Okay, that's one thing. But does love really need to be painful? No. And if it is, it's not real love. So, but yeah, Mike, I just don't want you to be too hard on yourself. So, can you look at it from like, okay, I've had this opportunity to experience this lesson on what I want, need, and deserve, and that's okay. And I'm learning from it, so I'm not gonna repeat history. That's what I don't want is this like, oh fuck, I've just had this whole like life of no, we're learning from it. And I always say, you can see this in a lot of my videos. I'm like, these people could be the best thing that ever happened to you. Cause it's like after that breakup, like I became healthier, wealthier. I learned what real love is. Now I'm in this awesome relationship. Use it to your advantage. These people could be like, really like spiritually upgrade you in a way that you've never experienced before. Use it to your advantage. Like every, crisis, when sometimes people have to get cancer to be like, okay, I'm becoming the healthiest version of myself. It's kind of the same thing. These people are like relationship cancer, and you could be like, you know what? I'm attracting the real thing now. Aristotle, of course I know metaphysics. What stream did I stumble into? My girlfriend is an avoidant. We broke up last week, but have seen each other for 3 days last week and agree that we should go on dates, but without labels. Is this healthy? I mean, okay, short answer, no. Because I don't want anyone in like murky territory. So sometimes when you break up, people have a hard time with breaking up. Grief sucks. Like, can we just say grief fucking sucks? It is not comfortable. No one likes grief, okay? It's not like there's no, you try to rip the band-aid off, Even with avoidance, what avoidance do is they like break up with you, act like it wasn't a big deal, start dating someone else, or they'll keep you around as supply, but you're just getting used. So when I hear like, oh, let me just use you, so it's like avoidance can't handle any type. I mean, they can handle emotional pain, but they don't want to. It's very fucking lazy. So what they do is use you to like soothe or get their ego validation or whatever while they're warming up their next person. Hence, let's not have any titles. Da, da, da. No, like I would recommend not giving someone your energy if it's especially if you've been in a relationship, but also like, would you want to date someone that just got out of a relationship? Like either way, which is what, even though she's your ex-girlfriend and it was the relationship you were in, like, do you still want to do that? And do you still want to date without labels? Like what I would recommend, Murkist, what I would recommend is that if you had a breakup, just do your own healing, maybe go non-contact for a bit where you're really like working with a coach or therapist or someone on what was going on. And then just not seeing each other. So you could, you have to let the fog clear, and it's hard and it's heartbreaking and your heart is going to hurt. And I'm not trying to take all those things away because sometimes it's easier. It's ostensibly, it feels easier to just like hang on to the other person. But I don't recommend that. And it seems like that's what she's doing a little bit. Like she doesn't want to feel anything uncomfortable. So she's going to hang on to you because avoidance always have at least one other person in the background until that person is warmed up enough and then move on to that one. And I don't want you to be left in the dust again, like, because I feel like that's what's going to happen because that's what avoidance do. So that's what I would say about that. Let me know, like, one's reality solely upon their reception and perception of, yeah, your reality is what you perceive it to be. It really is. And I know that's hard sometimes to like, especially if you're just starting to understand this, but you are the creator of your reality. No one is you. No one isn't like, this is your video game, babe. This is your video game. And so you get to decide the rules. And that is everything that quantum physics is about. So, but it is the truth. And, if you're Christian, this is in the Bible. This is like, asking you should receive. Like, it's just you get to decide what you want and how hard it's going to be or how easy it's going to be. I recommend building a self concept where it's kind of like universe, God, whatever loves me. And so I get to have what I want. Like, you know, because when you operate from that state, then you're more available to provide more value to the world. Then you're more of a channel for God and source, and to share your gifts, skills, talents, and abilities with the world, because you're not stuck in this suffering, like survival state of like just getting by. When you just like, okay, God, I want this, and now I get to have it because your desires are divinely placed in your heart for you to have. So it's like, oh, I want that, I got it, and now I can just provide more to the world. I'm happier. I'm operating at a higher level of consciousness, not in these survival, anxious states. I'm operating from a different place. So now I can provide more value and do more things. So yeah, you're the creator of your life. The spiritual upgrade was insane. This is Mike, but the revision component doesn't seem to work for me. I have physical symptoms. That shit is so bad. Nervous system is shot. Okay. Nothing is beyond like what I want to say repair. So what you just said there, Mike, was you have a belief, a very strong core belief right now, that revision doesn't work for you, and that what feels more real than anything is your physical symptoms. That's fair. Physical symptoms are very fair, right? Like, and you can change them at any time. I promise you that. I freaking promise you that. And I only like, I'm so passionate about what I do because I've reversed so many physical things that were brought on by very toxic situations, by people that, were supposed to love and protect me at a young age. And I thought those physical symptoms would be forever, and they're fucking gone. Okay, because I was able to reprogram my nervous system. But I had to get to a place of like, and I don't want you to be as stubborn as me. So I'm telling you guys, like, where I'm like, no, it's gonna be this way for. And I just got to a place where I just had to hit rock bottom, and I had nothing else but to surrender. I had nothing else but to be like, okay, all the logic in the world, because I have all the freaking education in the world, you guys. It was not that. It was like, okay, I have to know, just like Joe Dispenza talks about, he literally, was paralyzed and healed his spine. Just like RJ Spina did the same thing, was paralyzed and healed his spine. And he's like, they're both in bed. Like, there's some higher intelligence that can help me, because you know what? Maybe I'm not in control. And so if you can get to that point where you're like, maybe some higher intelligence, whether you call it God, universe, whatever, loves me so much that it can help me in a way that would blow my little ego, my 3D ego mind out of the, like, it wouldn't even make sense. It's what people call miracles, because it would just all of a sudden, but all you have to do is align with that energy where, you know what, you can be restored to perfect health. You can be whatever, have the health, wealth, relationships that you want, even though it fucking hurts right now. And that's what I had to do. I'm like, okay, God, you take over. I've tried everything, and I have all these, like, again, whatever accolades, academic accolades, but it has to happen just like Carl Jung talks about. It has to happen on an energetic, spiritual level. You have to, things that's in quantum physics, everything, that's how it happens, on an energetic and spiritual level. How do you get there? Thank you for my health. Oh my God, it feels so good to be. I remember when I had that physical ailment, blah, blah. It feels so good to be this. Identify with it. You're creating new neural pathways and identifying with your new reality. Okay? Identify with your new reality. Constantly brainwash yourself as much as you can, especially when you go to bed and when you wake up. I promise you, it fucking works. This is why I'm doing this. Like, it works. And this is why I'm so passionate about what I do. Thank you, Mike. This is Mike again. Thank you, by the way. I did see your previous post. It was wonderful, even seeing your videos. Oh, you're so welcome. And also, if there's certain topics that you guys want me to talk about, you could just like write it in the comments. Obviously, write it here. And because every time I make a video, I'm just like having a conversation with you guys. That's how I think about it. And it's usually based on a DM I got, like, or a comment I got, or a question that I got that I'm, wanting to answer for that person and then a bunch of you guys. So, and that's why I come on here to help you with that too. But like, Mike, let me tell you, nothing's, I know it feels, and that's a good place to acknowledge, like, oh, feels like it's out of my control, but it's not. And let me give you one more neurological reprogramming tool, Mike, that some people like really vibe with. And it's tapping, also known as EFT. I have some EFT videos. You can, go on YouTube. There's EFT videos. They're all the same, but it's like hitting, meridian points that are when you get like acupuncture, they're acupuncture points. But you start here and you say the problem, right? Like, okay, right now, I'm going to use your words. The physical symptoms I have are so fucking bad. You don't say fucking. They don't seem to work. Revision doesn't seem to work on me. I have physical symptoms and that shit is so bad. My nervous system is shot. So you just acknowledge it. You start there. And then you hit all the, I think you start here, and then you hit all the, okay, well, it seems bad. And then you just go through all the things. And then it's like, okay, well, and I feel it here. You just acknowledge all the things. And then you know what? Maybe it could be better. Maybe it could. Maybe I could actually get 10% better. Maybe I get 20% better. Maybe I get 50% better. Maybe I could wake up tomorrow and be symptom free because in my nervous system, I released all of the suppressed, sorry, I talk with my hands, all of the suppressed pain that I had from, that's another place you tap is here, from this relationship. So now I could let it go. And I could feel it leaving my body. And that feels really nice. It feels really nice to release my nervous system in that way. So like what's going on? So that's like a meridian point. I'm talking about EFT, which is also known as tapping. And it's a neurological reprogramming tool. The expansionist 93 that you use. And so, yeah, but one of the meridian points is under your armpit. It's like right here. It's actually by your ribs, like right there. And so, but a lot of people love tapping. Like sometimes I've taught it to my clients or just, inform them about it. And my clients, I text every day. So they'll be like, oh, no, no. And I'm like, oh, did you try tapping? And they'll get back to me in 5 minutes. They're like, oh my God, it just regulates your nervous system, but it also releases things from your nervous system. Because again, your brain isn't just in this helmet up here. It goes all the way down your spine, throughout your nervous system. And sometimes we hold pain in different parts of our body. Yeah, and we got to let it out. And sometimes you don't know it, but until it shows up as physical pain. And I think that's what's going on, Mike. But you can release it. Okay. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be there forever. You can release it. And I want you to know that. Okay. So yes, that's what's going on. I have been stuck in my own head. I feel stuck in the mud recently. Okay. Good awareness. That's wonderful awareness. What specifically, the expansionist, what specifically are you stuck in your own head about that feels like that stuck in the mud energy? I call it like molasses energy. Like, oh my God, I'm really trying. Like you just feel like you're trudging, right? What specifically is making you feel that way? And by the way, when you do have that feeling, it means that the higher part of you wants to be somewhere else that doesn't. So it's actually a good sign. It's kind of like, hey, I'm right here right now, but I know I'm supposed to be here. I know I'm supposed to, whatever it is in your health, wealth, relationships, or career. It's one of those things, right? So it's kind of like, I know I'm supposed to be here and I'm ready to be here. So there's usually the old part of yourself, like the inner critic, the old, like I try to speak anyone's language. So it's like if you're talking quantum physics, it's the old timeline. If you're talking more scientifically, it's these old neural pathways that are dying. Those neural pathways are dying and they're like, help, I want to stay alive because everything like biologically is trying to stay alive. But the new neural pathways, the higher and better ones are like, nope, we're upgrading. And they're like, no, don't. Like, so it's kind of like, but you're on the right path. The expansionist, if you feel like you're trudging through mud, you're all of a sudden gonna, but sometimes we need that extra help. So, but even just knowing that, like, oh, I feel like I'm trudging through mud right now. It feels like, take that as a good sign. It means that you are going where we just have to give more energy to where we want to be because, again, your mind is so freaking powerful. Whatever you give energy to expands. So the part of you that feels like you're trudging a mud, just drop that story for a second. Just drop it like you're dropping, I don't know, something in the water or in the trash, or down the drain. And can you focus on what it is that you want and how light and great and like amazing that feels like you feel like you're in this flow state? What is the opposite of this trudging in the mud for whatever it is? Like, what would that feel like? And can you immerse your mind in that? Can you recalibrate your nervous system to that? I haven't taken any action to better my life. I'm a boxer, licensed loan officer, and I have monetized. Nice. You have a monetized YouTube channel? Freaking hell yeah. I have been stuck in my place for days. Okay. First of all, let's give yourself, I feel like you're one of these people that's super hard on yourself. I mean, we've never met, but I'm just getting that vibe, that you're really hard on yourself. You have a license, you have a monetized YouTube channel. I don't have that. I mean, that's I love YouTube, but like, nice. Like, congratulations. That's amazing. The expansionist. And so if you've been stuck in your place for days and you don't want to be, okay. So your inner critic, your inner sabotager, your inner saboteur, wants you to stay paralyzed or maybe immobilized, right? And it's kind of like, I can see you going places. Your YouTube is monetized, like you want to take action on things. And so you have to see this inner critic. And I always recommend name your inner critic. Name this part of you that's trying to keep you stuck and small. First of all, that part of you is actually just trying to keep you safe. It doesn't know any better. It only knows, it has like this much knowledge. It's very limited. It's like the part of you that, I don't know, if you have like a cousin that has like 3 teeth that lives in the middle of nowhere that doesn't know anything. So they only know what they know. And I'm not saying anything bad about that cousin. They just know what they know and they just don't even know anything else. But that part of you that's trying to keep you small and safe, you have to say, hey, it's 2026. I don't need that old fear-based thinking anymore. Thank you very much. You've served your purpose, sir, ma'am, whatever. But I recommend naming them something annoying, like a name that you don't like, but also like just disidentifying with them because that is not you. Okay. So thank you. I just can't figure out how to make the most of it all. Well, you're doing it. First of all, like again, separating that inner critic. So that inner critic wants to be so hard on yourself. And I'm telling you, the expansion is that is the energy, like because your inner critic that's trying to keep you small and stuck in the mud type of feeling and not like basically paralyzed is like, you're like it's just judging you so much that it has this energy of like, oh my God. So you have to separate that person and say, like, that is not me. And I could tell by the way that you wrote that, the message above, that you want to take action. You didn't write, "Oh, I'm sitting on my couch on my ass and I don't want to move." You said, "I haven't been taking action to better my life." That the way that that is written shows me that like I just want to be doing more and that my inner critic is really, I mean, almost trying to like suffocate me, literally. And so we have to realize that because you are thinking that you are your inner critic. You are thinking that it's like having a roommate that is like trying to suffocate you and starve you and like doing all these abusive things to you. So with that, the expansionist is not you. We need to separate these two people, and you need to be like, fuck that person, that's not me. Okay? That person really tries to take over my thoughts, and that inner critic has done a really good job of making me think that I am him. I am not that person. Okay? I'm not that person. So that's what I need you to do. I need you to start there, and I need you to really separate those two people, expansionist. I need you to name them something very annoying, like a name that you hate, so you know that that is not you. Start there, because I know, like, I'm a boxer. Boxing is freaking, I've gone to like 2 boxing classes. I was exhausted. So I know that you have a lot of energy, and you're a loan officer. Like, you have a ton of life within you. And this inner critic is trying to stifle your life force. And so you need to be like, get the fuck out of the way, because like I really feel like all of us are channels for like the universe to flow through us, so we can inspire people, so we can help people, so we could, I don't know, be a loan officer, so we can help more people with our YouTube channel like you are with yours, the expansionist. So you're actually like way more on the right track than you think. You just need to get this little fucker out of the way, this inner critic that you have going on. And a lot of us have this. I'm so glad that you asked this question, because a lot of us have this. Almost every time on my live stream I hear this. So I'm proud of you, and thank you for bringing this up, but you just have to separate those two. So can you start there with that? Because that will get you exactly where you need to be. And like, follow up with me. You can DM me on Instagram or TikTok and let me know how it's going. But I want you to get, like, you need to evict that motherfucker, that inner critic, and be like, you don't even belong here. Why are you up in my living in my head for rent free? No more of that. Your energy is too precious. So, like, let's start there, because you just sound like someone that's full of life. So you get to just get more aligned with that. I'm gonna drink my water. I try to like do it away from the mic. So, okay. Collective consciousness theory. Yes. I mean, that's a big part of what it's all about. I just deleted my social media to clear my head. Good. Good. Sometimes we need social media cleanses. I have my social media mostly to, obviously to help you guys. And I answer the vast majority of my content that I make is, I'm answering a question or a DM, or like there's a theme going on in my private practice. And I'm like, if this theme is going on, it's got to, I'm sure more people are being affected by it. So, everything in your life should be there to serve you. The food that you eat, the social media that you consume. Even I recommend, even if you're watching, there's nothing wrong with watching TV and relaxing, but have stuff that's going to make you laugh or expand your mind, or like make you, I don't know. I don't have a Gaia TV subscription now, but when I did, it was nice. Like, oh, okay, Tim, first of all, don't do that. Do you want to talk to me more about what's going on? If it wasn't if it's not an addition, yeah. If it's not an addition, it's a subtraction. Okay, we're no one's doing that here. We're keeping ourselves alive, and but we've all, it's okay to feel that way. I don't want to like take that away from you. But can you tell me more about what's making you feel down? And then the expansionist here, let me send you my email. I'll say it out loud too. It's Lauren Clayton with a C. Lauren Clayton, Total Health at gmail.com. Oh, and also, you know what? I'll send you my WhatsApp. My WhatsApp. My WhatsApp is this +1 +1. Because I have clients like all over the world, which is cool. So, but +1 949 area code 949-396, oops, 396-4092 is WhatsApp as well. And, oh, it went twice for some reason. Okay, good. You have the same area code? Oh, we're Orange County people. Nice. Okay, let me go up here again. Tim Watkins, I'm lonely and depressed, and I watched my dad. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Um, parents passing away. That's a difficult one. Were you close to him? And when we go through a tremendous amount of grief, it is normal to feel that way. It is normal to feel like, what's the point? I'm done, like, type of thing. But you're not, you're still here. And it's like, would your dad want you to do that? I don't know what type of relationship you had with him, but I can guarantee that no one wants you to do that, Tim. But I also don't want to take away from the fact that those feelings can feel so real. They can feel so freaking real. And so I want you to acknowledge that, but also know that, like, grief, like all emotions are energy and motion, and they have to move through you without taking you over. And emotions are energy and motion, and they move through you without you identifying, like, your emotion. You are not your emotions. Okay, so we can have those feelings without, like, because a lot of times, like, think about it, how the human language is. We don't say, I'm a lot of times we're like, I'm feeling sad. We say, I am sad. No, you're not. You are not sad. You are your name. You are God consciousness. I believe, like, you are just actually a pure state of love and peace as far as I'm concerned. But you are experiencing sadness. You are experiencing grief, and those are okay to experience. We need to experience those things. It's part of life. Hosum in Newport Beach is amazing. I haven't been to Hosum. I almost ordered from there the other day. Okay, I really have been craving Chinese food. This is a weird transition, but I'm just answering questions. Yes, I was, and I live by myself. Okay, so that's hard. That's hard, Tim. Like, can you acknowledge how hard that is? And if you're saying you live by yourself, that I'm assuming, like, you mean that you feel lonely and you feel alone right now. But you're not. And I believe, I don't know what your belief system is, but I believe, and I want to say I know that your dad is still with you. And maybe I've recommended this to clients, and they've had some very interesting, I mean, it's not even interesting. They've had some very, like, substantial things happen. But maybe could you ask your dad, like, hey, show me that you're still with me, because you're not, as much as you feel alone, I know that you're not alone. And I'm so glad that you jumped on here and said that, that you're saying this. And if I could just tell you that you're not alone and that you have a lot to live for. And yes, I want you to feel your sadness, and I want you to do something to, beyond, like, a funeral and things like that. But I want you to do something to celebrate your dad's life. And I want you to do something to, like, honor the fact that your dad is always with you and that you're not alone. And maybe this is an opportunity for you to expand, like, your ability to receive love and receive, like, companionship, or whatever you maybe want more of in that area of your life. Oh, I don't know the expansionist. You're not seeing his chat. I don't, or he might have them set to private. I don't know. Metaphysics. We love metaphysics and quantum physics and Aristotle up in here. Tin banger. Okay. Cool book. A Cool book collection. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, Tim, let me know, like, how that resonates with you. I'm very sorry for your loss. Um, you know, but I actually like love the fact that like you had a close relationship with your dad too. Um, because um I don't know, I just think that's really special. Um, in that you know, have X amount of years, however long you guys knew each other to be connected in that way. But I have to say, and this kind of connects to the person that was talking about staying with their ex or like seeing their ex under an unofficial title and all this stuff. People have such a hard time with grief. People have such a hard time with grief. The human, like humans, like this human, it gets really hard for us to handle grief. It sucks. It's uncomfortable. We don't want to be abandoned. We don't want to feel loss. It's, you know, it's in the most primitive part of our nervous system, in our limbic system, that we don't want to feel loss. It's very scary. So I understand that, but we have to go through the motions of grief. And like and the thing is that grief isn't even linear, you know, like the 5 stages of grief, and it's like shock, denial, bargaining, all this stuff, and then acceptance. Then you have acceptance and you feel peace and everything, and then I don't know, something will come up, a birthday or whatever, and then you feel this. It's like you have to just let the energy of grief flow through you with and knowing that it's not going to take you over. If you have, or if you're in a romantic relationship that you're grieving, especially if it's a toxic one, and if it, and honestly, if the relationship ended, it was supposed to end, and you have something way better for you coming. I promise you that. But you have to let yourself go through all the stages so you don't get stuck in that toxic dynamic. You're either going to continue to create it or attract it with someone else or that person, and you're just going to be miserable. And then with Tim, um, like, oh, okay, so it's been a number of years. Um, so, but and then when, you know, when you're grieving like someone dying, it's still like you still have to go through all those things, but like especially if you had a good relationship, it actually doesn't matter if you had a good relationship, but just honoring like what you did have with them. But if you did have a good relationship with them, I mean, that's definitely something to celebrate. So, just keeping that in mind and focusing on what went right. I will message you. Thank you for the okay, cool. Yeah, I look forward to you messaging me, the expansionist, fellow Orange County citizen of the world. Um, so yeah, like when you first wrote that to him, it sounded like he had just passed away, but on August. So, you know, yes. So Tim, like, okay, it's been 12 years. So what have you learned from that? How are you doing? Like, I don't think that your dad would want you to be sad. I'll just say that. I think that your dad would want you to be living life to the fullest. A lot of people take their grief and turn it into something that brings value to other people. I mean, even if you're just talking about like grieving your dad, some people do that. Some people, you know, did you know that Nikki Beach, like the club, like all those clubs are like around the world, Nikki Beach, like they're kind of bougie. I've only been to one Nikki Beach, but um, it was created by these two people that were parents to this girl named Nikki. She was a party girl. And, you know, she died of a drug overdose, you know, she's a party girl. And then they were just like crying and everything. And then, um, you know, they kind of looked at each other and they're like, Nikki would not want us to be doing this, like just, you know, crying or whatever. So what should we do? And so they invented Nikki Beach to kind of celebrate her. And, you know, yeah. And I actually think that I'm getting chills right now thinking about that. So yeah, yes, I'm mixed. I'm Creole, which is a bunch of different things altogether. But anyway, great questions, you guys. I love hanging out with you guys. I think I'm gonna make this a regular thing, maybe a regular time. I have clients at, like, different times, different time zones, so I just, like, try to jump on when I can, but, um, just put it, on YouTube, you can, like, set the notification so you'll at least get a notification when I go online, um, when I'm live because I love hanging out with you guys and I love answering your questions. And I get to spend my birthday by myself. Well, okay, well, you could spend your birthday with him. You could this is an opportunity, Tim, for you to expand your ability to receive companionship. So it doesn't if there's a circumstance, and this could be for anything, if there's a circumstance in your life that you're not comfortable with, you're so welcome, Mike. You're so welcome. Keep me updated. Let's hang out more. I love doing this with you guys. But if there's a circumstance in your life that you don't like, you can change it. Again, this is your video game. It's your world and no one else's. And your mind is that powerful that you can have anything that you want. Now, there is something like if you, and this can be your literal addiction, if you're addicted to your victimhood or your sadness. And I used to have a deep addiction to sadness. So I know, I'm not, Tim, I'm not saying this to like, can be a real thing where it's kind of like, oh my God, I'm so sad all the time. You can change that. You can change it. You can be like, I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want my baseline state. You get to choose what your baseline state is. If you want it to be loneliness and sadness, it is. And then you can change it like this hour, this minute, and be like, I don't want that anymore. I want this now. And that's what I'm gonna like on TikTok. I saw this guy, he's like, hey, I'm starting a TikTok because I want to make friends. Like, that's so cute. But that's what he wanted to do. So you can do that. And that's just one way, but you can just decide, hey, I want more friends, I want more companionship, I want more community, and that's what gets to happen. Okay, Tim, you have the power, and I want you to remember that. Do the expansionist says, do it and you will be monetized in no time. Yeah, yeah, that would be fun. I do love just helping you guys. And like sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and make a video about X, Y, and Z. And it's like, just freaking go live. It's so fun talking to you guys. I comment to make you angry says, I won't be opinionated going forward. I'm sorry. I was just excited. Another psych nerd. Oh, this is a safe space, a safe container for you to be as opinionated as you want. I want you to be yourself. You have humor and spice. Well, thank you. No, but like you can totally be, I mean, if you say anything offensive, like, sometimes this only happens on TikTok actually, is if I go live on TikTok, some people are just like rude and like they're just basically spamming it and like I'll get like violations. So I have to like delete you guys, but like I want you guys to be yourself and ask questions. I'm here for that. Like I want you to completely feel comfortable being yourself. So you can be opinionated. I love it. And yes, you are amongst fellow psych and whatever nerds. What is that social psych? But yes, you are amongst your people here. I comment to make you angry. It's all good. Word. I want this now. That's so cute. Happy birthday, Tim. Make it a good one. You can decide that it could be the most fun, loving birthday ever. Okay? That is you. It's your world, babe. And that's true for all of you. This is your video game. This is your world, and you could make whatever you want of it. Okay? I love you guys. This was so fun. Again soon. Let's see, tomorrow? Yeah. Oh, tomorrow I'll have time. So, some days, like, it's just more packed with oh, okay, gotcha. Gotcha. I comment to make you angry. It's funny saying your name. Um, but anyway, thank you for the banter. Thank you for the amazing questions. And then if you have more questions that you want me to answer in the next live, and I'll probably also make a video out of them, let me know. Okay. Um, Tim, I have no family. Well, that's what I'm saying, Tim. You could make family or friends. You could do that anytime. And you could also know that like, you know, on a spiritual level, like, you're never alone and your dad's still with you, but that's a decision. And you could also decide, now I have family and friends. Like for me, I had to go non-contact with some of the closest people in my life, and I had to make my own tribe and my own family, and there is a point where it's really fucking lonely. And then, what I did was I expanded my ability to receive love and feel worthy and all of those things, and then life met me that way, and now I have an amazing tribe. But it was lonely when I was stuck in, like, my literal sadness addiction, but I'm telling you, you can get out of it if you want to. I promise you that. Much love, David Runs. Much love back to you. You're the female me. Wild. I tell people it's their game. It is. It's your video game. It's true. How you play the game is how you play the. Yes. You have that much power. There are powers that be that are crumbling, and in the medical industry and the pharmaceutical and the diet, whatever, all that don't want you to know how fucking powerful you are. It is your video game. It is your world, my love. You could have whatever you want. I promise you that. And the more you own that, and like I'm not sitting up here like I just like one day was like, I get it now. Like it took a while, but the more and more that you know that, like even if you don't know it, if you just because at first I had to like just repeat it to myself, like, okay, I'm this powerful, I could have whatever I want, and then it just happened. And I did this with like my body composition without like ostensibly doing less, working out less. It just all like clicked into place. With my career, all of a sudden, I didn't have to try harder and like come from this desperate chasing energy. So I'm Danish, and we have a word called hamig. Oh, I'm gonna slaughter that. It's similar to epigenetic in the spiritual sense. If you have something he owned, if he was a carpenter, here's a hammer, you can speak with him. Oh, that's so interesting. Nice. I'm gonna look up that word. Thank you for sharing it with me. That's cool. Nice to meet you, Tim. I'm Lauren. Um, yeah, Tim, okay, Tim, I'm talking to Tim. I comment to make you angry that's Danish. Nice to meet you. And then Tim Watkins. I know you said you've been depressed since 2014 and you can change it within 14 seconds if you want to. And I'm really, I've been in the fucking depths of despair. I have. And I was like, I promised God, I was like, if you get me out of this, if you show me what to do, I will help everyone in the world that I can if you get me out of this. And that happened. And I'm here. And I love helping you guys. But I'm telling you, you have to decide that you want that, though. You have to decide that I want to be healthy and thriving and more than I want to be alone and sad. And you have to really fucking look at yourself and get real with yourself. And it's like, okay, which one do I want more of? Is my ego like, oh, I'm just really identified with being sad? Because mine was. I was just like so identified and feeling so sorry for myself, which is a real like neurological, like those pathways are so strong, it's an addiction. Okay. So I've been there. I freaking have been there. So I feel you, but you have to decide which one you want more of. And I don't care if you've been depressed since 2014. In 14 seconds, you can change it. I promise you that. Watch the rest of my, I have a bunch of shorts on this channel, especially that have to do with changing your mindset, like literally changing your reality. Okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you. This is a freaking fun and such good conversation, and I'm so excited to hang with you guys again and answer your questions. Again, in the meantime, feel free to, chat me up if you want to connect. I usually use WhatsApp to if you want to, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, if you have any just questions that you want answered in a video or on a live, DM me. Okay. In Hydermore, oh my gosh, I'm going to slaughter this word. The soul has multiple, yes, the parts are the The spark, yeah. It's so cool, like, how in different, like, cultures, spiritual practices, like, these different parts of the soul are called different things, and it's all kind of directed towards the same thing, and some people, like, fight over it. It's all I love it. Not in a well sense, but ones that are one's will or conscious. Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love that, and I love that it's in the comments so people can see that and, like, yeah, I completely agree with all of that, Tim, Danish Tim. I comment to make you angry. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Where in English word self comes from. Okay, very cool. I love it. All right, you guys, I'm gonna wrap up. If you're seeing this later, please comment. Please, I answer every comment. So love you guys, and I will see you again on the next live, which will be very soon. Bye.